Thank you for joining us, everybody. We welcome you to the South Alabama Coalition's Lunch and Learn series. This is in partnership with the United Way of South Alabama. These LNNs are designed to help us increase our effectiveness and become an even greater asset to our community. Our speaker today is Ms. Archneet Kidd, who leads the City of Mobile's Office of Supplier Diversity, established by Mayor Sandy Stimpson. Under her leadership, the city has expanded its efforts to acquire the services of disadvantaged business owners. In fact, the city was named the Reverend Wesley A. James Minority Business Advocate of 2020 by the Mobile Chamber of Commerce. We invited Ms. Kidd to share the importance of supplier diversity, some best practices in that effort, and a bit of information nonprofits will find useful when working with the city. Welcome, Ms. Kidd.
Good afternoon. How are you all? Thank you all for having me today to speak with you all about supplier diversity. I have been in the supplier diversity arena now for almost 20 years. I started at Mobile Water and Sewer System and started their program back in 2000. And moved to the city of Mobile in 2016. So it has definitely been a different experience since I've been here at the city. There are a wide array of funding that we receive, both from federal government, other governmental agencies, and each of them have their own way and route to supplier diversity. So some of those you'll hear today, but I am going to go ahead and take just a moment here so that I can share my screen with you all and you'll be able to view the presentation. So if you will, give me just a second. Okay, and my title for today is Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in Procurement, Supplier Diversity. So for many of you all, I'm not sure as to how familiar or how much information you've received about diversity, equity, and inclusion in procurement, but most of those programs are called supplier diversity programs. You may also hear them called MBE, WBE programs, which is minority owned and women owned businesses. And it kind of depends on the sector that you're in. Most governmental sectors have supplier diversity programs, and then the private sector usually has a minority and woman-owned business program. So as I go in the presentation, I'll explain that a little bit more to you. What is a supplier diversity program? A supplier diversity program is defined as a proactive business program which encourages the use of minority-owned businesses, women-owned, veteran-owned business, service-disabled veteran-owned businesses, Section 3 individual-owned businesses, and actually Section 3 may be a little bit of a new term to some of you, but for those of you that receive CDBG funds, which is Community Block Grant funds, or any type of funding from HUD, Section 3 is what HUD uses or calls their disadvantaged businesses. And Section 3 actually has just recently taken a change to its approach in November of this past year, November 28th, if I'm not mistaken. HUD changed that program as to where a Section 3 company or a Section 3 individual is a person that either receives some type of HUD-funded assistance for living, so they may be on Section 8, or receive some type of voucher program, or they are low to moderate income as determined by HUD. The other is socially and economically disadvantaged businesses, which we refer to as DBEs. And quite often, there is a miscorrelation between an MBE, a WBE, and a disadvantaged business. So with a minority-owned business, you have to be just that. The company has to be 51% owned, controlled, and operated by a minority. If you are a woman-owned business, it is just that the business is 51% owned, controlled, and operated by a woman. But if you are a disadvantaged business, in order for you to receive a disadvantaged business certification, you must show that you are both socially and economically disadvantaged. So with HUD, where it shows that you're economically disadvantaged, so anyone that has an income that's low to moderate income or receives some type of HUD-funded subsidy for living may be granted the Section 3 certification. Or if you are a minority-owned business or a woman-owned business, all you would have to show is that you are a minority or a woman. Well, with the disadvantaged business, you have to show both in order to become a disadvantaged business. And disadvantaged businesses, most federal government agencies use that designation. It's mostly used by the Department of Transportation, as well as some of the other entities such as veterans and SBA. So the SBA program, which is a disadvantaged business program, but they call their program 8A. And that is also a certification process that businesses have to go through in order to achieve that status and certification. Supply diversity promotes innovation through the introduction of new products, services, and solutions. It provides multiple channels from which to procure goods and services, and drives competition on price and service levels between companies, existing and potential vendors. So the more vendors you have, it creates more of a competition in both price as well as the service level, because those companies want to make sure that they're able to keep your services. So as you continue to add more companies to that bidders list, it tends to drive the pricing as well as the level of service. It makes both of those a little better. Economic impact. So as most companies start to use these programs and put these programs into place, it creates an economic impact for your community. As I talked to you earlier about the HUD program, where HUD uses those Section 3 individuals. So the way that the HUD program works is, and the City of Mobile has actually started a website of which we do intake on those individuals. And the way that it's used is when we receive funding from HUD for particular projects, case in point, we're doing a demolition project currently on the old Mains school building, of which we're using HUD funds on. So we have had to have those contractors have their Section 3 individuals, if they're working, if they have any Section 3 individuals working for them, or if they need to hire Section 3 individuals, we can run those employees through our portal, or they can hire from our portal. Once those Section 3 individuals register and receive that certification, then we give their information to companies or contractors that are bidding on those projects in the event that they need to hire individuals to get that project completed. That's driving an economic base for those who may not have had an income and putting them into a working situation so that they can now become self-sufficient. In addition to that, if we have a company that's owned by a Section 3 individual, we encourage those contractors to hire those Section 3 owned companies as a subcontractor on the project. And in some cases, if that company may have general contractor's license, they may also bid as a prime on those contracts. Now, the city of Mobile, and many of you all may already know, with our program, we do have a 15% good faith effort on all of our contracts where it is applicable. There are some contracts that have special processes as to where we may not have a disadvantaged business available to perform those particular services. So we will issue a waiver on those particular projects, but many of the others, we still have that 15% in place. And there are certain processes that have to be done within the bid process in order for them to show that they've either secured that 15% or where they've tried to secure that 15%. So with hiring those local businesses, it's going to drive the economy within your particular area to make sure that people are, one, either being employed or their businesses are gaining funding as well as procurement through those particular programs. So inclusive procurement also drives broader societal benefits by generating economic opportunities for disadvantaged communities. The U.S. Small Business Administration estimates that there were 8 million minority-owned companies in the United States as of 2018. The National Minority Supplier Development Council reports that certified MBEs generated $4 billion in economic output that led to the creation or preservation of 2.2 million jobs and $49 billion in annual revenue for local, state, and federal tax authorities. So we can see here, both from the Small Business Administration and the National Minority Supplier Development Council, that they've put those numbers in to see what companies were out there. And the National Minority Supplier Development Council has a robust minority business program where they both certify, but they also educate those minority businesses as well as many of the Fortune 500 companies and that have minority business programs. Keeping a vendor database. So if you all, or when you all begin your program, one of the first things you need to do is to make sure that you're able to maintain a good vendor database. And within that vendor database, some of the information that you need to be able to have is, one, the certification type and the type of company they are. Within the city of Mobile's financial system, it kind of worked out that when I came to the city of Mobile in 2015, they were getting ready to implement a new financial software. And with that financial software, it enabled me to go in and change the way we were collecting information on our vendors. Because in the beginning, we didn't know if they were an MBE, a WBE, a veteran-owned business, or what have you. So I was able to put in tabs that allowed us to collect that information when the vendor registers so that we can, one, report on that information, but also know who those vendors are and properly solicit them when the bid time occurs. You also want to know what types of insurance they have. You want to know have copies of their contractor's license that will allow you to know if they are a general contractor or subcontractor, as well as what type of service they provide, if they're a marketing company or if they provide some type of tools or what have you for the particular project that you're looking for. You also want to have and make sure that they have city, county, and state business license. So you also want to make sure that you can collect that information as well. I know that we've had many instances lately where there have been companies that were not properly licensed, bonded, that have worked on projects and kind of gotten themselves in trouble, as well as agencies. So those are the first things that you want to look for when you start to solicit vendors for a project or even to be within the procurement processes that you have with your agency. I want to talk a little bit more about federal funds. In addition, if your organization receives federal funding, and I know some of you all receive some CDBG funds from the city of Mobile, as well as some other HUD funding, but then you also have professional services contracts with the city of Mobile. So definitely, because you're receiving that funding, we want to make sure that you are aware, one, of the city's supplier diversity program, and including that 15% on the city funds that you receive, but also when you're dealing with HUD funded projects, that you make sure you include those Section 3 individuals as well as your disadvantaged businesses also. So there is reporting mechanisms. I talked a little bit about HUD and the Section 3 earlier. Well, their reporting mechanisms have changed as well. In the past, we only had to provide information as to whether or not a Section 3 company was included and how much was spent with that Section 3 company on those individual projects. Well, now HUD has changed. They want to know how many hours a Section 3 individual has worked on those projects and how much they were paid. So we now have to kind of, if you're familiar with Davis-Bacon, and Davis-Bacon has to do with federally funded projects and the number of hours and pay rate that an individual has received on those projects, we now have to provide the same information to HUD on Section 3 individuals. And we still have to include the information on the Section 3 business if it was a Section 3 business that was included as well. So reporting is very important when it comes to those federal projects. Also, as I stated, with the Department of Transportation here at the city, we have to report what we've done with disadvantaged businesses. So actually, when we receive a Department of Transportation grant from the Department of Transportation, that application already has within it the amount of disadvantaged business participation that should be included with the project. So we have to give them that information, as well as they do audits to make sure that it's being done. They also do on-site visits to make sure that those businesses are on the job site and working and performing the job that was reported to be done by them. They also have prompt pay clauses where once the city provides payment to the general contractor has a certain number of days in order to pay their sub-disadvantaged business. Because with those small businesses, period, they don't have very much funds. So they need to be paid accurately and quickly so that they can get their bills paid and be able to continue to do business. Federal agencies that require documentation, again, Housing and Urban Development, the Treasury Department, the Department of Transportation, Environmental Protection Agency, and others. How to include diverse businesses in your procurement process. Again, when I started the supplier diversity program with malls as well as with the city, we had to do what was called capacity building. So that meant we did a number of outreach events to the minority, woman-owned, and disadvantaged business community. And please remember, again, when we say disadvantaged business, minority, or what have you, that also includes veteran-owned businesses and service disabled veteran-owned businesses as well, including Section 3. Each of these designations have certifications. So you want to make sure that whatever type of certification you're looking for, you want to make sure that they have it. I am going to be the first to say, never take a person's word for it. You need to see that certificate or that letter from the organization of which they say they've received the certification from, whether it be the Veteran Administration or the veteran-owned business or the service disabled veteran-owned business certification, whether it be the Department of Transportation or the SBA or the disadvantaged business certification, or if it's National or South Regions Minority Supplier Development Council or that MBE certification, and the Women's Business Association for that woman-owned business certification. And there are many different agencies that do certification, and it will be up to you and as to which one you would like to receive or you would accept. And then you have to check with those federal organizations in order to find out what certifications they are willing to accept. But you want to make sure you look for those when you're doing your capacity building. You may also want to partner with some of those organizations. The National Minority Supplier Development Council definitely has a membership for organizations. The City of Mobile is a member of the South Regions Minority Supplier Development Council. You may want to work with the Department of Transportation if you choose to use the disadvantaged business certification, as well as the ADECA has a minority business certification and a woman-owned business certification. As I said, HUD has the Section 3 certification, but making sure that you're affiliated with those organizations so that you can obtain a listing of their certified companies. And again, there are many of them abroad as far as whether they are service organizations or construction organizations. Holding matchmaking events. The city usually partners with the Department of Transportation when it comes to the disadvantaged business certification. We actually use many of the same companies, so it works best when we try to partner our general contractors with our disadvantaged businesses so that we aren't repeating the same processes. It's best for us to work together. Again, I mentioned the membership in the supply chain organizations, partnerships. And I am going to talk a little bit more about partnerships on the next slide. And also you want to make sure that you're informing those disadvantaged companies about bid opportunities with your organizations. So the City of Mobile, when we started our capital improvement program, did what was called, we started doing Industry Day. And Industry Day is done once a year. And we do that to introduce our capital improvement projects for the fiscal year so that our companies will know what's coming up. We provide them with a listing of those projects so they get to see whether it's construction, if it's some type of professional professional service with engineering, architectural engineering, or what have you. So having those type of outreach events to make sure that that disadvantaged business community is aware and knows what you have for bid, and they can find where they best fit in that process. Local community partners, definitely the City of Mobile's Office of Supply Diversity. As I stated, we have a list here of both minority, disadvantaged, veteran-owned businesses, those Section 3 businesses. Actually, on our Work with City of Mobile website, there's a listing of both Section 3 individuals as well as the certified disadvantaged businesses. And then we also have a database in-house of those minority and women-owned businesses. And some of those may or may not be certified, but we can definitely provide that information. The Mobile Area Chamber of Commerce has the Growth Alliance Task Force. And the Growth Alliance Task Force is a group of minority businesses that work within the chamber to get information out to the community about the chamber and its services and the tools that it provides for those disadvantaged businesses and small businesses. The Mobile Area Black Chamber of Commerce. This is a new organization. I think they've been in existence now for about 2 years, but they have been growing fast. They actually, I was commending them because in the last 6 months, I think they've been doing a workshop for their members as well as the community at least once a week. Then we also have the University of South Alabama Small Business Development Center, as well as the PTAC program there. And that is actually an office that's set up to help small businesses, one, get up and get running, get started. It helps them with the development of their business, but most importantly, it helps them get into the procurement practices of governmental agencies. So they also help to partner those small businesses as well as disadvantaged businesses with government agencies. We also have Innovation Portal. Innovation Portal is a high-tech, fast-paced company. They help to primarily get companies up and going, but those companies that may be more on the tech side, they also offer workshops and training for those organizations, and they also have an incubator that's there at Innovation Portal as well. And there are a number of other agencies throughout the city that works with us. The Department of Transportation has their minority business support, DBE supportive services program, of which they're handled throughout the state. They have one at the University of West Alabama, Tuskegee University, Alabama A&M University, and the University of Alabama at Huntsville. And I may be leaving out one, but they also do a number of workshops for the Department of Transportation here locally, as well as throughout the state. We also have a woman-owned business organization, and I apologize, I can't remember their name, but it is, the president is Dr. Valerie James. And she also has started working with the Office of Supply Diversity to get the information about their organization, but also to assist with helping to get them into the procurement practices here at the city as well. So again, there are a number of organizations locally. I always say that the small business assistance here in the city of Mobile is like none other. But we work very hard to try and get the information out to the community about those organizations, as well as we partner with some financial organizations to assist those that need assistance with finances as well. So are there any questions at this time?
Ms. Kidd, I have a question. My approach to acquiring the services of people in that disadvantaged class has been a little haphazard. And so I
Okay.
was glad to see those organizations that you listed that I can go to get information and
Okay.
lead.
Okay.
But I do wonder if there have been any challenges that you have faced in either getting programs off the ground, attracting businesses, or working with those businesses, and how you overcame those challenges.
So there are some challenges. The first challenge we had, and still continue to have, is that fear. Because a lot of minority businesses look at the city as being a huge organization. Many of them have a hesitancy when people say come and do business with the city of Mobile. One, it's a learning process for both the business owners as well as the staff here at the city of Mobile. I'm going to be honest and quite candid, and I still have some of those problems because we're used to doing things the way that we've done them. People don't like change. And that's something that we have to overcome. We have had to do training both internal and external. We have had to sit in and mediate some things when it came to pre-bid meetings, bid openings, and final closing processes, as well as throughout the entire construction process. But again, it's change. And it's teaching those vendors how we operate, but also putting them and partnering them with those community partners to teach them how to actually run a business. So it's a growing process for both. But we have to continue to do our due diligence in breaking those barriers, but also getting people to understand and accept change. And again, especially Mobile has been a creature of habit, I would say, to a certain extent. We have companies that have been around for 50 plus years, and they've been used to, I've always done that project. I'm the only contractor or the only professional service provider for that, but new things come. So we're in that, I'll say, metamorphosis stage as to where we're changing and evolving. And yes, there are going to be some challenges. And again, we have to use training on both sides. We do a lot of business training. We currently have a contractors college that's going at Bishop State Community College to teach those startup construction companies how to do business again with the city, as well as other agencies, because we want them to understand that you're not going to be able to make your bread and butter just off of the city of Mobile. You have to reach out and go to other agencies and do work for other agencies and companies. We've also started to partner with some global organizations to try and get the word out about them. Mobile Chamber has been doing some other workshops as well to teach those businesses. Again, you're not going to be able to do it solely off of the city of Mobile or what's here in the city of Mobile. You need to look abroad into those close range areas such as Mississippi and Florida, and maybe even Georgia and Tennessee, to do work there as well to expand your company.
Thank you. Sherilyn Moore had a question. Sherilyn, can you unmute yourself?
I have a quick question. Can you provide a sample of a bid proposal in how to submit it in a very details?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, we do a class on how to complete a bid package. So that's definitely not a problem. We do have to request that if you're asking for it and the package is not out, that you do so in writing.
Okay, how do I do that? Because I am a DBE certified, so I applied it to Montgomery, but how do I submit that or to request to have a sample like that?
So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put my contact information in the chat and you can give me a call. But our legal office has a form that you have to complete and send in, and then we provide you with that information once you completed that form. But I'll
Do
put
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll put my email address in the chat so that you can get that and send me the email, and I'll send you the form.
Okay, so I don't need to go physically to pick it up.
No, we can email it to you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
I did have one more question, if no one else has one. Okay, here it is. In recent years, we have received that Section 3 paperwork from the city.
Mhm.
It was a little bit awkward because I was completely comfortable filling it out for myself, but not quite as comfortable gathering the information about the other staff in the office. Is that information necessary for the leadership of the nonprofit or for anybody that's working for the nonprofit? The city would like to know that information about their income status, that kind of stuff.
So it would be for those that meet the Section 3 guidelines. So if their income is low to moderate, and again, we now have a website that collects that information. So what they would do is go in and put their information into that system. No one sees that information but my office, and that would be myself and our small and disadvantaged business coordinator, who's Mr. Roger Cook. The both of us have a dashboard of which only we see that information. Now, it does ask because when they go in as an individual, we're also collecting information to give to other agencies and companies if they're looking for jobs. So it is going to ask if they're looking for a job or not, so that they can be put onto that list of individuals that we share information with those other organizations. Any other questions? Well, I thank you all for having me. I am here for any other questions. If anyone has any, I will go ahead and put my contact. I did put my email address, but I will put my phone number in the chat as well, just in case anyone wants to give me a call to ask any other questions.
Thank you, Ms. Kidd. Thank you. I have learned a lot. That Section 3 paperwork came to me, it confused me right off the bat. I did my best. I understand a whole lot more now. And I thank you again for that information about where to reach veterans and people of color and disability. That's all very helpful to me. I really appreciate you coming today and taking the time out of your schedule. And I thank everybody who joined us on the call today. I'm so sorry that there were a few technical difficulties, but you know what? That's just life nowadays. It was no biggie for me. I just do my best to roll with it like we all do. So I thank y'all for hanging in there with us and joining the video today. And I know that Tristan's going to be sharing it so that people who couldn't get on can still get this good information. Thank you.
Absolutely. And then also in closing, we have just a poll for you all to take, just to share your feedback on how you're enjoying our DEI. There it is, magic. So if you'll take a few moments and just answer the questions. And then also, Ms. Kidd, do I have your permission to share your PowerPoint with the group? as well?
Yes.
Wonderful. So that will go out hopefully Monday with the link to watch the recording on YouTube. So, all right, well, we'll give everyone a few moments to complete the survey. And then, like Diane said, thank you all for joining us.
Have a great weekend.
It looks like we have everybody in. We're just about 100% response. So
Mhm.
I'm going to go ahead and end it
Yeah.
and share the results.
Wonderful. Okay. All right, we got it.